Hi, I'm Charles Brothers from Tamaki Group Limited in New Zealand. I'm the Medical Applications Director for Tamaki Group, looking after or overseeing the compliance and fit-for-purpose use of our product internationally within all jurisdictions. It's my role to ensure that all of our product meets the jurisdictional requirements, and it's obvious that in 2020, COVID-19 and its unprecedented impact within the world has also impacted us in the way that we provide our products. Originally, our PPE would be supplied to industry and medical practitioners, but it's obviously clear that as time has moved forward in 2020, that the public are now using PPE. It's quite important to understand that there is a clear definition between industry, medical practitioners and the public use. And that use stems really from the application of how the PPE is used. It doesn't matter whether we're talking about medical procedure masks, surgical masks with tiebacks, or our surgical masks with visors and ear loops, or our respirators. All of them require a specific instruction for use, and those instructions for use have to be adhered to ensure that you achieve the efficacy of performance for that piece of equipment. It doesn't matter how good your PPE gear is. If you do not don it correctly, you will not be getting the effective use of that PPE gear. And then more importantly, once you have completed the tasks and move out of the danger areas, if you do take that PPE gear off, if you aren't doing that correctly, then you defeat the whole purpose of using the PPE gear. And I'll give you a quick example of that. And we see this all the time at the moment. Well, we do in New Zealand, and I'm sure you'll see it around the world. These dangling from rear vision mirrors of cars, where individuals are using them and then coming back into the car, hanging them up and using them again. That's not an issue per se. The issue is how you put it on and take it off. So when we put a mask on, we put it, fit it correctly, and here's your procedure mask. Brilliant. You use it. You take it off, boom, and it should go into the bin. If you reuse it, this is what normally happens. Someone goes in and grabs it. Immediately, the inside of that mask is contaminated. Wherever that hand has been is now imprinted on that mask. And now you're going to put it against your face. So if you've been in an environment where COVID could be, you could be putting COVID on the inside of your mask. That is not the issue of the mask, that is the issue of the user. These are the small things that we must determine. And the users industrially and within the medical profession understand this. They understand the following of the COVID regulations and requirements. They understand how the CDC and the WHO have determined the use of PPE gear and also how to don and doof that gear. What I'm going to do is go through a number of questions that have been asked from around the world, from some of our distributors and customers, and hopefully answer them so that it gives you a better understanding of how COVID impacts us in reality, outside of all of the technical information, the actual relevant information that you can use on a day-to-day basis, and the understanding of why we do certain things. They aren't just there for, by heaven's sake, they're there for reasons. So let's start. Now, why can't I use the same mask all the time? It looks clean. So Andrew, thank you for your question. The simple answer is we can't see COVID-19 because COVID-19 is about 0.1 of a micron in size. Our field of vision is up to 40 microns. That means that your average here is 70 microns, and we can see those, and we can also see down to 40 microns. But at 0.1 of a micron, we cannot. So when you see someone sneezing and you see their aerosols going out into the environment, those big droplets are all, by definition, over 40 microns. COVID-19 will travel in droplets of between 5 and 10 microns, which means by definition, we cannot see them. If we can't see them, then when we're walking through, let's say a corridor or into a room, we could walk into a cloud of those droplets or aerosols and not know it. Having the correct PPE helps us to protect ourselves against inhaling any of those droplets. So we must understand, what are we protecting ourselves against? We're protecting ourselves against a microscopic virus, which we cannot see by the naked eye, and it is not dirty, it does not discolor, it is purely a microscopic virus. It needs a host and it will travel to one. However, it may also, and there are studies from the WHO showing that COVID-19 may survive for over 72 hours on solid surfaces. So if you sneeze and someone then touches that solid surface, that surface may be contaminated still after 72 hours. So you need to understand what you're protecting yourself against. And the naked eye cannot see COVID-19, nor can it determine or differentiate between dirty and not dirty, being COVID-19 being on or not on some form of PPE, whether it be a single-use mask or a reusable mask. So you must use masks and PPE within the instructions for use and ensure that conformity is in that way. Within, and I see that you're from Australia, you have your AS 4381 for the determination of what a medical procedure mask is, and that assimilates to the ASTM rules for the USA, levels 1, 2, and 3. In Europe, the ruling is EN 14683, and they are type 1, type 2, or type 1R, type 2R. Very similar in the way that the regulations are worded and what they're tested for. There is one significant difference, however. So in both, they test for what we call bacterial filtration efficiency, BFE. They also test for blood fluid resistance, or BFE, and they have different levels. But there is one test that the Americans do that the Europeans do not, and that is particulate filtration efficiency. And this test is down to 0.1 of micron. And if you remember, COVID-19 is 0.1 of micron. So if we're looking for a respirator or a mask that will combat COVID-19, we prefer to have one that is tested against ASTM level 2 or level 3 and a PFE greater than 98% for a 0.1 micron latex sphere. I know that's a little bit different from what you're asking, Andrew. However, we cannot see whether a mask is dirty or clean. When it is dirty, by definition, whatever's on it is greater than 40 microns in size. What you must understand is how you are to use the PPE, whether it be single use or reusable, and if it is reusable, how to wash within the instructions for use to maximize the number of uses you get out of it while minimizing any impact to the efficacy of that mask. I hope that answers your question, Andrew. If you have any more, please give me a call. And our thoughts are with you as we understand that Victoria has been ravaged again by COVID-19, and hopefully you guys will see the end of this tunnel very shortly.